Okay, so we are in the Moksha Sannyasa Yoga, Perfection of Renunciation, chapter 18. So you have been with me for the long journey. So let us almost to the end of the Bhagavad Gita. So let us pay obeisance to Sri Radha Govinda. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Nanaka Shalakaya Chakshulmitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Mano Vishtam Stapitam Ena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavscha Shri Rupam Sagarajatam Sahagana Raghunatva Vittam Santam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakana E Krishna Karuna Sindho Dino Bandho Jagat Pate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hare Priye नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमती भक्ति वेदांत स्वामीति नामने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादिते पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we have come to the 18th time. So what did we see last yesterday? It was on chapter 17. So that time it started with the query by Arjuna. He asked about unauthorized worship. So he was, suppose they do the worship according to their whimsical manner. So in what, which mode of nature will they be in that? So then Krishna will answer about how it all depends on the faith. And then he continues to explain the faith in the faith in the foods, faith in the three modes. It depends on the modes of nature, which determines one's faith and worship. And he talks about the foods in the three modes of nature, Sattva Guna and Rajas Guna, Tamas Guna, and foods which you take in the Sattva Guna will increase their ayu, and it will purify them and give them strength, and strength in the spiritual life. Then sacrifices in three modes. He talked about that. How people they just in Tamas Gun they will only destroy the body, and it was not as per the injection Vedic injections. They do the sacrifice, and in fact they for benediction they ask is for to destroy. I mean to have more power on the other living entities and for destruction. So sacrifices there are three modes: goodness, rajas, and tamas. Then he talked about the austerities, three kinds of austerities. Austerities in body, austerities of mind, and austerity of speech. Speech was very important because it is only speak. We should not hurt others, and it should be beneficial to the people in speech. Then talked charity also in the three modes. How people try to do charity for self-glorification and not for real thing. And also we should be discriminate and not to give charity to, it should be to worthy people and at the proper time and things, and not to, otherwise you get reaction also. You'll also suffer along with them. Then finally he talks about how everything, sacrifice, charity, austerity should be offered to the Supreme, because he is the Om Tat Sat. Om means Vishnu. Tat Sami is the activities you do is for the Lord. Sat, it is eternal, because the person who is doing is also eternal, and the activities are also eternal. So you have to do everything for the Lord, then you won't be anything. So this should be our lifestyle. Now comes the last chapter where it is going to summarize the whole thing. See, in the chapter 2, Lord Krishna also gave a summary of all, it was like an introductory conclusion. Okay. There he cleared the doubts of Arjuna. Arjuna had the doubts, no? He said it is it's out of compassion. Then he was compassionate to his relatives, how I can kill them. And then he was saying it is sin to kill our own thing, and there's no sense of enjoyment. And also he said there will be loss of tradition. And finally he was indecisive. So finally Krishna addresses all his doubts in the second chapter itself. It was like a introductory conclusion. But then he continues to explain in more detail, expanding and clarifies on each point. So that's how the whole chapter, 18 chapters were like 3 sections. First section was 6 chapters were addressing Karma Yoga, then Bhakti Yoga, then came to the Jnana Yoga. So finally, this is like a conclusive summary, like, in this chapter. He now summarizes all this philosophy. And again, here he will talk about Karma Yoga, and again he'll expand some more understanding. He gives Jnana Yoga, and then how there are 5 factors of action, 3 modes control everything. Then again it touches upon modes of goodness, the nature for knowledge, work, action, and all that. We are going to see that. Then purification to Varnashram Dharma, Brahman platform, then comes pure bhakti. So I might see how much I can cover this thing, up to 40 or the thing, and then we might take up some tomorrow. Otherwise, it is all compressed and it will be too much to do that in one thing. So now this chapter starts with Arjuna's question. Arjuna uvacha Sanyasa mahabaho tattvam ichchami veditam Tyagasya chai rishikesha pritakshe keshini sudana. So Arjuna said, O mighty one, I wish to understand the purpose of renunciation, Tyaga, and of the renounced order of life, Sannyasa, O killer of the Keshi, Demon, Rishikesha. See, this question keeps popping up about the renunciation. Renunciation, is like even every one of us, we all do activities and we keep getting this class, whether we should leave everything in this world and go off and take up sannyasi is what. So now these are the question which keeps popping out, not only to Arjuna, but it's like we are all on the material platform, isn't it? So it keeps coming to us also. So there now the difference between Tyaga and Sannyasa is what he is asking. Tyaga, what is the purpose of renunciation? Why we have to do? And what is this renounced order you're talking? So because in this world, when we are working, it attracts karmic reactions and implicate us in a web of complexity. So one may question whether renouncing work is a safer path. Why get into all that? And here especially he is addressing Krishna as the killer of Kesi Demon, Rishikesha. Kesi Demon is like, it's like the doubts in our mind, it has to be clarified. Otherwise it will keep on, it will never make you be in rest in peace. So he's addressing Rishikesha as the master of senses. Please tell me clearly which is how I wish to understand the purpose of renunciation and of the renounced order of life. So it starts off this chapter with that. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Kamyanan Karmanam Nyasham Sannyasam Kavayo Viduhu Sarva Karma Phalam Tyagam Prahas Tyagam Vichakshanaha. So what he says now, the Supreme Lord said, to give up the results of all activities is called renunciation, Tyaga, by the wise. And that state is called the renounced order of life, Sannyasa, by great learned men. So renounced order means do for the Krishna. That is, we have to give up the results of all activities. And so Arjuna asks for the meaning of the 2 words. Performance of activities for results should be given up. But activities leading to advanced spiritual knowledge are not to be given up. So that is, we have to give up the activities which are not helping us to go progress in the spiritual Lord. And also we should give up the results and not the activity. Okay. Only when you're doing that, that means in that state, what you're, when you're trying to give up and you're in that particular state is known as sannyasa by great learned man. So that, it keeps confusing. Some learned men declare that all kinds of fruitive activities should be given up, but there are yet other sages who maintain that acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance should never be abandoned. So there always be confusion, conflict, when people, some say, well, give up everything and just take up sannyas, but there are people who are sages who say we have to maintain these acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance. They should never be abandoned. So we talked about sacrifice, charity, and penance in the last chapter also, isn't it? So they say that should not be given up. Why? When in doubt, we should to get this clarified, isn't it? So here he continues to say, Yajna dana tapa karma na tyajam karyam evatat yajno danam tapaschaiva pavnani manishina. So what does he say now? Acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance are not to be given up, but should be formed. Indeed, sacrifice, charity, and penance purify even the great souls. So why we have to do is because for our purification, not for anything else. We are still in this material world with a lot of misgivings in us, and we need to be purified. And that purification is progressively done and not, it cannot be done. And here it says this purification is required even for the great souls. So whom do we see here? So here, whom do we see? We see this is a person here, who is doing sacrifice here. We see Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, and become Vishnu is coming. So this is the sacrifice which is being yagna being organized by Daksha. And Daksha has got a goat head. So how did he get that? That's a thing. Because what happens in previous instance, Daksha is a son of, I don't know if you all know who the Daksha was, but he was the son of Brahma. And his daughter Dakshani was married to Lord Shiva. So actually, Daksha was very envious of Lord Shiva because his father asked him to give his daughter into marriage to him. He gave, but he was always envious of Lord Shiva. One time, when the sacrifice had to be done, conducted yagna, so he enters the arena for the sacrifice. Okay, but everyone gets up. He will be so effulgent, this Prajapati, he'll be so handsome and so the effulgence was so much, everybody was attracted to him and all got up, but except for Brahma and Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva was in trance, he didn't realize that Dakshina has entered. So seeing that the Shiva had not got up, he gets puffed up. He gets irritated and he will insult Lord Shiva. Okay, and because of that, and he insults him, and there were a lot of quarrel takes place between the Brahmanas and the supporters of Shiva. And finally, what happens? He doesn't he insults Shiva and he walks off. And later there'll be a lot of enmity between them. And again, another time when he's arranging for a yagna, he doesn't invite Lord Shiva. So that time his daughter gets very, she gets very upset, and actually she goes, though Lord Shiva asks her not to go because we are not invited, but still she goes to her parents' house, and then she really finds that her father is insulting her and there's no place for Lord Shiva. Then she gives up her body there because the body was given by her father. So this was this made Lord Shiva angry, and then he will, so that time he sends a thing and how he loses his head. Okay, that's how the story, he loses his head, Daksha, and a lot of destruction. Then finally, Daksha comes to his senses and they all take the Shiva's thing, they go and ask for remans, then Lord Shiva forgives him, and then he says, Daksha is, he doesn't understand thing and he only deserves the head of a goat. That's how he gets a goat. But then he realizes his mistake and he, then he will be, actually takes the benediction of Lord Shiva and says, because of your mercy, I am able to understand your thing, everything. So then they conduct the perform, then they complete the yajna. So that time only the Lord Vishnu will come to give their blessings. So the yajnas and all were all the time sacrifice and chant were done even from the Satya Yuga, it's long term, and all of them is to practice that for even great souls needed to purify them selves, because there always needs, and it will be for benefit for the humankind. That's how they used to perform this yajnas. So that's what Krishna says here. Acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance are not to be given up and should be performed as per the Vedic injunctions. Should be done. See, he says, is very clear. When he says it should be done, is Tyajam, it should be done. There's no doubts. Etani apitu karmani sangam tyaktva palani cha kartavya me patha nishchitam matam uttama. So now all these activities should be performed without any expectation of results. So they should be performed as a matter of duty. Vasanaprata. That is my final opinion. So finally he says, all these activities, that is sacrifice, penance and all that, should be done as a matter of duty, and they should not expect any results. Okay, expectation of the result should not be, because it should be done for the Lord. So then that is my final opinion. So he says should be done. So whatever should be done, it is very clear, and we have to carry it out. So he says all these activities should be performed without any action, and it should be done as a matter of duty. But what happens if they don't do it? Sacrifice, charity, and penance, all these should be done as per the duty. And here they are trying to save an animal here. As a duty you have to do. Now comes to the question of why the people don't do the prescribed duties. So there are people who they will never do the prescribed duties because they are some are there who won't attempt to do anything. They will be under illusion. Because they are under illusion, they are in the mode of ignorance. So those kind of people who are in the mode of ignorance, because of their illusion thing, they will never bother to do the prescribed duties. They will try to ignore, they will try to find excuses for not doing. But there are some people who are in the mode of thing, they will find it difficult to do. They'll always find some difficulties. They'll say, oh, this is problem for me, and I can't do this. And they'll find innumerable reasons for not trying to do, or they're fearful. So they'll say, if I do something like this and it goes wrong, then how I can do? So they will be always trying to find some difficulties why they cannot do it, or they'll be fearing that they might do something wrong. So in such kind of thing, they will never attempt to do the prescribed duties. So those kind of people are in the mode of passion. Okay. And then, but there are people who will do it whether they do it perfectly or not perfectly, but they will do it as per the duty. They will say, it's my duty and I have to do it, and they will continue to go ahead and doing it. Such kind of people are in the mode of goodness. So this is how people are generally in these kind of nature. So depending on the kind of nature, this is how they address their prescribed duties. So now comes to the action. So what they say, they have to do the prescribed duties. So they should do. Again here, he stresses in these 3 slokas, they should perform. They should perform as their duty. Then such kind of people are in the mode of goodness. So clarity is given here. Now he is giving more elaborates on this action. O mighty Arjuna, learn from me of the 5 factors which bring about the accomplishment of all action. So he talked about the activities, that is, they have to do their prescribed duties and all that. So now he's giving jnana on this in these slokas 13 and 14. These are declared in the Sankhya philosophy to be the place of action, performer, senses, endeavor, ultimately the super soul. So what are these 5 factors? See, now this is a marketplace, right? In the marketplace, what are there, you will have the marketplace would be a place of action. And who are the performers? There are two people are there. One is who's trying to sell their goods, and there are others who are trying to buy the goods, okay, buy the material. Then that is the performers. And what are the senses? See, they have to use their eyes, no, to see the thing or to the feel, and they have to talk. So they'll have to use, senses are involved there, like seeing, talking, and handling the goods and all that. So senses are also involved. Then the endeavor. So a lot of effort has to be put, no, by the people who are trying to sell their goods. And also people who are buying, they have to have money, isn't it? So they also have to put endeavor to get money. So you have involved. Ultimately, this cannot be done unless there's a sanction by the Supreme Lord. So in any of the activities, for if you want to get it done, there'll be 5 factors are involved: place of action, performer, senses, endeavor, and ultimately super soul. In the same way, suppose you want to build a temple. Again, here you will have a place, you need to land, you need to construct the temple or some factory or anything, and who all have to be involved? The architects, workers, and all that. They're the performers, and they have to use their senses, isn't it? And their hands and all the things. And then endeavor, they have to put a lot of effort and also financing in this. Ultimately, who is there? Super soul has to be there to give the sanction. Unless these 5 factors are involved, only then an activity can get accomplished. Otherwise, it will never get accomplished without the sanction by the super soul. So these are the 5 factors. But what happens to the people? Generally, they don't understand. Therefore, the one who thinks himself the only doer and not considering the 5 factors is certainly not very intelligent and cannot see things as they are. So they think they fall into that false ego, that they are the ones who are doing, and they don't recognize the other 4 factors which are also involved in this, in any activity. So when they perform this activity, they don't consider that, they think they are the only one doing. When such kind of people are said to here, Krishna says they are not very intelligent and they cannot see things. I mean, they're not able to understand that, perceiving the things properly. So that's why he's giving more understanding to us about any activity here. So Bhagavad Gita says we have to give credit to every player involved in the action. Now he is giving more about the action, or the knowledge. See, if you want to do any activity or anything, you should have some knowledge. So the knowledge, the object of knowledge, the knower are the 3 factors which motivate action. So earlier we talked about the action, how the 5 factors are involved, isn't it? There are 5 things which are involved. And for how does one get motivated to do it? So that there are 3 factors. For motivation, there should be knowledge, the object of knowledge, and the knower. So what do you mean by that? So how that the person who wants to play this game, basketball, he should have the knowledge of the game, isn't it? So unless he has the knowledge of the game, he won't get involved. And then he should have the object of the knowledge is the ball he needs to have, and the knower is the person. Okay. So unless these 3 are there, only then he will be motivated to play the game. Same way, like if you want to go to some place and you want to travel to some place, then what happens? Then you will be, if you want to go from one part to another part of the thing, you should have some knowledge, right? How to go and how, you might go by car, you might go by train and all that. Then after that, what is there in that place that which you cannot do here? That also you should understand, and you might have to go there to deliver something. So that's the object of knowledge, and that they know. So the motivation of the action is done at the subtle level. It's not done. If you won't take place. You might know the thing, you might have think, you might not actually play the game. So, but everything is done, it's in the subtle level. It's in the mind or intelligence. Only when the action is done, then the senses, work, and the doer comprise the 3-fold basis of action. So till that level, it will be in the subtle level. So now he is going to elaborate more. Only when I carry or when I go to that, take the car and go to that place and things, only then all my senses. If I don't do it, it will be only in my thoughts. So it will be only my settled level. So now, so this, now the Krishna is going to elaborate some more thing. And here, we are giving some assessment, like one being the yourself. You can also, when I can explain this, you can assess yourself also. Okay. One being the lowest and three being the highest. 3, 2, 1. So now he's going to talk about 3 kinds of knowledge. So we talked about knowledge, object of knowledge, and thing. Now he's going to elaborate each one actual knowledge based on the modes of material nature. That knowledge by which one in undivided spiritual nature is seen in all existence. Undivided in the divided is the knowledge in the mode of goodness. What do you mean by that? You'll be able to differentiate, like we are doing we are the body and not we are the soul and not the body, like all the philosophy. So undivided is the soul in all beings and divided is in different bodies. Okay, so because we see soul in every heart because he's a part and parcel of it. So that's the knowledge which he refers here is the spiritual knowledge. Okay, so once people are in the mode of goodness, they are able to and perceive this. But there are knowledge by which, today we are knowing the theory, but to keep that theory, to experience it and to be in that mode, that is the mode of goodness. That knowledge by which a different type of living entity is seen to be dwelling in different bodies is the knowledge in the mode of passion. That is, what happens here is he thinks they are all different type of living entities are there in different bodies. So he is not able to see them as the part and parcel of the Lord. Okay. And then, but that knowledge which one is attached to one kind of work as the all in all without knowledge of the truth, and which is very meager, that means he is all the time attached to his own body. He doesn't go beyond that. So that then they are in the mode of darkness. What is this? We see others as we see ourselves. That's what he is trying to tell us. Now comes to the actions. There are 3 kinds of actions based on the modes of material nature. So as for actions, that action in accordance with duty, which is performed without attachment, without love or hate by one who has renounced fruitive results, is called action in the mode of goodness. So he does it as his duty. And he doesn't think about anything else. He only knows that it is duty to be done. And so there won't be any reactions to it. So he won't, whether it's auspicious or inauspicious or anything, because he's renouncing the fruitive results and he's doing it for the Lord as his duty, then he is in the mode of goodness. He thinks only about the duty in all that time. So that kind of action is known as action in the mode of good. See, even in the last chapter, we saw that he was saying that worship, austerity, charity, were in 3 modes, right? Charity also, he said, 3 modes of nature, how we are influenced by the modes of material nature. So now he's again talking here is more other factors also, knowledge, action. And in verse 18-24, he says, but action performed with great effort by one seeking to gratify his desires, and which is enacted from a sense of false ego, is called action in the mode of passion. So what we see on earth is people are working very hard, the day from morning till evening, they're working, they have big projects, even a festival, even to elaborately do a big fest, arrange it, they'll put a lot of effort, and they're fully convinced that if I don't do this, then I won't, my purpose in life is not there. Like that, with that kind of false ego, they will work very hard. And so that kind of people and that kind of actions are known as be in the mode of passion. Then comes the that action performed in ignorance and delusion without consideration of future bondage or consequences, which inflicts an injury and is impractical, is said to be action in the mode of ignorance. Here, the people are not at all bothered whether they are harming others or not, and they are only bothered about themselves. Okay, their consequence they want, and if they are, and also if it be in the, so such kind of action is known as to be in the mode of ignorance. So we see this all around us. It's not that this is quite rare, but we see all this mode of passion and ignorance actions. We see this all around. It's something not new to us. Then we have saw knowledge, then we saw action. Now he's talking about three kind of workers based on modes of material nature. The worker who is free from all material attachments, false ego, and is enthusiastic. It's not that he's doing his duty in grudging manner. He's very enthusiastic and resolute, and is determined, and who is indifferent to the success or failure is a worker in the mode of goodness. So this can happen only if we are working for the Lord, because activity for Krishna has the ability to take away attachment and false ego. And all other activities bind us more and more. So sannyasi has to preach. Doesn't bother how he is going to preach, whether it's to walk or how he is going to do that. He's not bothered. All he knows that he is supposed to keep moving and he'll be utterly surrendering to the Lord, isn't it? So here, so that kind of workers are in the mode of goodness. So one example is like a sannyasi given here. And now the mode of thing in, but that worker who is attached to the fruits of his labor and who passionately wants to enjoy them, who is greedy, envious, and impure, and moved by happiness and distress, is a worker in the mode of passion. So they are very attached to the fruits of labor. So why do people involved in big projects? They want to earn money, and they want to have 4 or 5 houses, a lot of cars, and so many things. They want to, why they work so hard? Because, and what is the motivation for doing that? Is the desire to enjoy, because they are in the, they want to enjoy fame, they want to enjoy assets. So they are always working very hard, passionately, and they're envious also, because unless you're envious and impure, you won't be thinking, and they are moved by happiness. They think happiness lies in that. Otherwise, they are distressed. So they are in the type of the workers are in the mode of passion. So they normally, people who take big projects, no, they will be involved like this mode of passion. But there are people, that worker who is always engaged in work against the scripture of the injunction of the scripture, who is materialistic, obstinate, cheating, expert in insulting others, who's lazy, always morose and procrastinating, is a worker in the mode of ignorance. So what is that? You can take an example of a setting up a casino. So casino, when you set up there, it attracts all the people who are cheating, they'll insult each other. Why are they playing? They want to earn more money in a fast manner. So they don't want to work. They are lazy and they think by tomorrow they can get, by gambling and all that, they'll be able to earn much more and become rich in a day itself, and not have to wait like the other people. So they are but tomorrow never comes. They'll be always procrastinating. Oh, I can't do it tomorrow, I'll do it another day, like that. They'll be working against the injunction of the scripture, and they're cheating. So that kind of people, workers in the mode of ignorance. So that's what Krishna talks. Now, after workers, now we talking about the intelligence. Intelligence, again, he classifies in the modes of material nature. O son of Pritha, that understanding by which one knows what ought to be done, what should not be done, and what is to be feared, and what is not to be feared, what is binding, what is liberating, that understanding is established in the mode of goodness. Okay, so they are not in confusion. They are very clear. If they will not ask the neighbor, oh, shall I go for a gambling place or a temple? There is no confusion for them. They know what has to be done and what not to be done. They're very clear. So that kind of people are in the mode of goodness, that kind of understanding. Okay. That understanding which they cannot distinguish between the religious way of life and irreligious, but they know what the religious is and they also know what is not religious, but they don't have the strength to act on it. So between action that should be done and action that should not be, that imperfect understanding. Why imperfect? Because they don't have the strength to carry out, to choose properly. So they'll always be dilly-dallying in between that thing. Okay. And so they'll always be pure, and they only depends upon their association and how their association push them. They will go either towards the religious way or to the other way. So these kind of people, that kind of understanding is said to be in the mode of passion. But this is totally opposite. What they do is they think irreligion is religion and religion to be irreligion. They go the other wrong way. Here they're only dilly-dally. Whether this is right or that is the confusion, imperfect understanding. Here perfect understanding. But these people have the wrong understanding. So they are under the spell of illusion and darkness and strives always in the wrong direction. Oh, Partha is in the mode of ignorance. So this is the type of understanding they have, and they will take the wrong path. So there are some, like, the examples you can say is the hippies. So they say worshipping anything, even a pig is also right, and all of that kind of understanding they have, So that is one example we can take up. Next comes the determination. So we saw knowledge, action, workers, then we saw the understanding. Now comes even determination also can be influenced by the modes of nature. So he's giving again more clarification. O son of Pratha, that determination which is unbreakable, which is sustained with steadfastness by yoga practice, and thus controls the mind, life, and the acts of senses, is in the mode of goodness. So by abhyasa and vairagya, that is practicing and regular practicing and detachment. So they don't take any shortcut. So how this able to sustain and is able to control his senses. So they are not, so they are in the act of mode of goodness. So they control their minds and all things. So that is the abhyasa and vairagya. And that determination by which one holds fast to, you all can listen, no? Hare Krishna. You can chat. I hope you are able to listen to me. Hare Krishna. Because it says my internet is, you can put it in the chat, say yes or no. Okay. Then when that determination by which one holds fast to fruitive results in religion, economic development, and sense gratification is the nature of passion. So there are people who give a lot of motivational speeches, saying, that you can do anything in this world if you want to do. And even if you have failed 10 times, you can keep on trying and trying, and you will achieve it. So they will try to motivate you in that, and that too towards the economic development and the fruitive results and for sense gratification. So that kind of motivation talks are there. So which will make you determined to for sense gratification activities. So that kind of determination talks and all are in the nature of passion. Then comes what is in the nature of mode of darkness, that determination which cannot go beyond dreaming, fearfulness, lamentation, moroseness, illusion. Such unintelligent determination is in the mode of darkness. So that, actually, you may be surprised to say how dreaming can become a determination in dreaming. Some people want to be So they are determined. That means they'll always be thinking of dreaming to do this, do that, and all that. So they don't come to the realization, how to realize it. And there are people who like to lament. They'll always lamenting. They'll always be sad. However much you tell them to look at things in a better way, in a positive manner, no. They like to be in lamenting only. They like only to be sad. Only in that situation they'll be satisfied. They are content with that. So, and also they are so much attached to their feelings of sadness. That means they are determined to be sad. They are determined to be fearful. They are determined to lament. When you have such kind of determination, that is known to be the mode of darkness. I'm sure you will find such kind of people. It's not that it's not there. We do find such people in our day-to-day life. Okay. So this is the kind of determinations which is been classified as the mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of darkness. Then even happiness also, Krishna says there's in the three modes of material nature. So again there he classifies that. So see, all this is very systematically. You can see how the philosophy is being explained by Krishna. So it's not just he's covering straightforward thing, but he's covering all aspects so that we get a very clear picture of of our activities, whatever duties, and how we are influenced, how we find people of different kinds of people in different modes, and what influences them and all that. So that, and now happiness. So happiness also can, that which in the beginning may be just like poison, but and it's like nectar, and which awakens one to self-realization, is said to be in the mode of goodness. See, getting up early is not that easy, very people find it very difficult. Getting up early in the Brahma Muhurta, just before at 4 o'clock, and attend the Mangalati and all that. So in the beginning, it will be like a poison. But slowly, when it becomes such a regulated thing, and it start working, you surely find a lot of difference in you. But we cannot unless, so he says, but end is just like a nectar which awakens one to self-realization. Same thing like chanting for me also in the beginning, chanting one round was so difficult. I didn't think that I could even do, but today doing 16 rounds, I don't find, this 1 year, there's a lot of progress. So in the beginning, I thought even to complete one round, I used to find it very difficult and take a lot of time, but now it's not. So this is how in the beginning it will be like a poison, but end is like a nectar. So that because once you're in the path of self-realization, it is said to be happiness in the mode of goodness. So keep on doing it and doing it and doing, you becomes the nectar. Once Prabhupada was going to Hawaii, and a priest came to him in a plain dress, and he was saying, how come your disciples are so bright and on their face, and so it looks so happy in their face? Then Prabhu said, because the process is so nice, it cleans the heart, and they are doing a lot of work. I know the path they have taken is difficult, but the process is so nice that they're always happy. So because it has awakened them in the path of self-realization. So people who are in that, their mood will be said to be happiness in the mode of goodness. Now comes to what is the happiness in the mode of passion. That happiness which is derived from contact of the senses with their objects, and which appears like nectar at first, but poison at the end, is said to be the nature of passion. So we saw this even in 5th chapter, the sparshas of Bhoga. Sense object comes to us, we feel very happy. Like for example, you want to, the wine, if you want to start with, you'll take a sip of it and find it very tasty and then feel happy. But slowly, when you get into habit of drinking, in the end, it will destroy your health, isn't it? That is the nature of passion, the happiness in the thing, which might, and many diseases you will incur. the things which you started, whether it was drinking, or is it drinking alcohol, or smoking, and all that, which is in the beginning you think it is nice, and all that, once it became a thing, it might finally lead to you in the diseases, and material world is like that. So even they say, the Prabhupada was saying when he was driving around in the West, there were a lot of billboards, with advertisement. And it's like, it is people who are living in the city are subjected to such stimulations. Thousands, there's a lot of distractions coming, either the media or the TV, the advertisements and all that. So it is always, there's a bombardment to our senses and to the object. So it is very difficult to be in the mode of goodness. So people are all susceptible to this nature. So initially we think it is good, and later we find it to be troublesome. So that kind of happiness is known as nature, to be in the passion. Then that happiness which is blind to self-realization, which is delusion from beginning to end, and which arises from sleep, laziness and illusion, is said to be of the nature of ignorance. So they are glued to the entertainment. They are not bothered about anything, They are determined in that they find the happiness is that. So they are in the nature of ignorance. So what did we see? We saw, I don't know if you are marked among yourself, if you have got more. So it is very difficult. So we saw knowledge, action, workers, intelligence, determination, happiness. We saw that in all the different modes of nature, how they're described by Krishna. So seen in people who see all living entities, that knowledge by which one undivided spiritual nature is seen in all living entities, though they are divided, you should understand to the mode. That is, they see living the soul in all the living entities, whether it's animals or human beings or things, everywhere, plants and all that, they see that is the mode of goodness. It's only repeated, the picture form. And there's a determination, which is very steadfast, gritted determination by practice, and controls the activities of mind, life and senses, is the mode of goodness. And I think one we can give the example is our own Prabhupada, how determined he was in this spreading this Krishna consciousness. Even in the age of 70s and 60s and 70s, late 70s, he went to US, and then within 10 years, he was able to spread this at that age. It's not that people, and he had a lot of followers with him. He went alone, and how you could bring. So that was the kind of determination, because he was in the mode of goodness. Now comes to ashramas. So we have some more time. I think we can do this. So there are 4 kinds of ashramas based on the modes of material nature. So with this, I will then take this up and take the rest later. So there are the 4 classes. When you say Varnashrama, that is talked about even in chapter 4, there Krishna says that Varnashrama, there are 4 classes: Brahmanas, intelligent class; Kshatriyas are the ruling or administrative class; then we have Vaishnavas, the business class; and then we have Sudras, the worker class. So any society will have all these 4 classes of people, and that depends on their nature. So these are that is known as the ashramas. That is, either they will be in Brahmana ashrama or Kshatriya ashrama. That is the ashramas he calls with the 4 classes, and how they are based on modes of material nature. What qualities will, it is depends upon their gunas, not the birth. It's not by birth he becomes a Brahmana, or by birth he becomes a Kshatriya. That's what we think. That's the misunderstanding we have. By birth they think, but all of the Shudras in the beginning, and what qualities we develop as the Brahmanical qualities or Kshatriya qualities or thing, that depends upon nature. So only by our nature, guna and karma, we have classified under this, but that was how it was designed by the Lord. And he says that in the chapter 4 also. So division is based on guna and karma. So what are the depends on the modes of material nature. So let us see what the qualities of by which the Brahmanas work. Samodama tamas tapas chaucham, shanti rarjavam evacha, jnanam vignanam astikam, brahma karma swabhavaja. That is, peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, wisdom, knowledge, and religiousness. These are the qualities by which the Brahmanas work. Okay, so Brahmanas work, that is, they are the intelligent class. No? So they will have self-control, they'll be contented, peaceful, austere, they'll have austerity measures, they will adopt purity and tolerance. Tolerance to whether the happiness or distress, they are beyond the duality, and they are knowledgeable of the Vedic knowledge, and they are religious and honest. So these are the qualities of the Brahmanas. This is by which they work. Okay. So it's not by birth. It depends upon their guna and how they work. Then comes to the Kshatriyas. Shauryam tejo dritta dakshyam yuddhe chapi apalayam nam dhanam ishvara bhavascha shatram karma swabhavaja. Heroism, power, determination, resourcefulness, courage in battle, generosity, leadership are the qualities of work for the Kshatriyas. So do we have this kind of people? Kshatriyas is the administrative class. Are we having such kind of qualities? So here clearly Krishna, though he mentioned that this is the Varnashram system I have made, but here in the conclusive chapter is elaborating the qualities with which they should work. Then comes the Vaishyas. Krishi go rakshya vanijam, Vaishya karma swabhavajam, Parichanakam karma, Sudrashvi swabhavajam. Farming, cattle raising, and business are the qualities of work for the Vaishyas, and for the Sudras, there is labor and service connected to the others. So Sudras will work for all the other three, is a service to the others. So this is how the 4 kinds of ashramas are based on the material nature. So division is based on guna and karma and not karma. So today, whatever the caste system we are seeing, no, it's all perverted one. But these were the ones where with which was there in Satya Yuga and Treta Yuga and all that. But slowly there has been a deterioration and misunderstanding today in Kali Yuga. Okay, but this is what Krishna says in the verses 42 to 44 in the last chapter. So we can see clearly what the Shastra is saying. So we should be able to understand, instead of just going by what is happening today, we should see why it had come. By Shastras we get the true knowledge. So then yatha pravartim bhutanam yena sarvam idam tattvam swakarmana tam abhachaya siddhim vindati manava. By worship of the Lord, who is the source of all beings and who is all pervading, man can, in the performance of his own duty, attain perfection. So he says it can be in any of these ashramas, but all he needs to be, and who are qualified to be in these ashramas, he has told. And what they have to do is one thing, they have to work cooperatively, coordinately for the spiritual growth. Okay, so by worship of the Lord, who is the source of all beings and all things, man can, in the performance of his own duty, attain perfection. So we talked from the thing, no, in the verse 7 and 8 and 9, we talked about the prescribed duties, how they are modes of nature, how they are in the thing, they don't, people who work, whatever performance they do as their duty is the mode of goodness. So they are, because of that, they can perform this. So now he's clearly saying, who performs his own duty, they attain perfection by worship of the Lord. So all they have to do is keep the center is the Krishna consciousness. So this was the basis of Daiva Varnashrama. So it is clearly explained here. So with this, I will close this. I will after this, because this is more conclusive about the prescribed duties. Shreyan swadharmo vigunaha para dharma swad anustitat swabhava niyatam karma kurvan napnoti kelvisha. So now continues to say it's better to engage in one's own occupation, even though one may perform it imperfectly, than to accept another's occupation and perform it perfectly. Prescribed duties according to one's nature are never affected by sinful reactions. So now it's till now. So all this was all to describe the prescribed duties, how one should do, and what are the different kind of people, knowledge, and all that. So here, what is shown in this picture is very nice. I like this very much. So here we have all these people have come for a competition. Who are they? Bird, monkey, penguin, elephant, fish, the seal, and the dog. So this is an example. Here is telling how now he is all are different living entities, and they have come for a competition. And the competition is the first is the one who climbs the tree wins the game. So this is what he has declared. So now you can see the reactions. So the dog, thinks, see, this person, is he mad? How can't you see that I can't even climb this tree? And he says that is the competition. That is the one who climbs can become the first. Now the seal is thinking, why at all I come to this competition? I should have merged myself to the earth and open up, then I'll go away. This is so foolish thing. I've come to such a game thinking it'd be a nice. Then the fish is there. He's very astonished. He's so open. See, what is this? I can't even come out of the water, and he's asking me to climb the tree. How I can do that? And think, doesn't he have any intelligence? Why is he asking us to do such a thing? Then what is the reaction of the elephant? He says, if I go and touch the tree will just fall off. Then what is the point of climbing it? I can, by my strength itself, I can bulldoze this. So he is bewildered. Then penguin says, I can only hop on the snow, but I can't even climb the tree, and I've come for this, such a thing. Only the people who are happy is the bird and the monkey. So what does it mean from this? All these living entities who cannot climb the tree doesn't mean that they don't have any potential. Each one has their own potential. Fish can swim in the thing, seal has its own potential, dog has got, elephant has got its own potential, and penguin also has got its own potential. So all of us in this world, each one of us have got our own strengths and our own potential, right? And so, and we have to only find that, and we have to do that for the Lord. And not that is why Krishna consciousness is personal and very personal. And we cannot copy somebody else. We cannot think that I can come and compete with all others. See, all these people have their own potentials, and they can't come to the same platform. They can't try to copy each other. Same way, we cannot copy somebody else. So we have our own strength, and we have maybe I can't do that particular duty properly and all that, but still I have to do whatever it is my nature. And if we do it for the Lord, with that in the motivation, then we won't be affected by the sinful reactions. So this is the basis of the thing. So all can attain. We can't compare, like, trying to compare us with Brahmanas, Kshatriyas. No, we find our own nature and try to do our own prescribed duties. So that is the ultimately what the Krishna is generally telling here. The spirituality doesn't mean it's only I have to give up my family or give up the society and all that. So nowhere he has written that, isn't it? All he is telling us throughout, you do your duty and do it for the Lord. Do it as a prescribed duties, as a dharma. So he is telling Arjuna, this is your duty. Prescribed duty is your Kshatriya. You have to fight in the battle, and you do it for the Lord. So that is all. You have to do the action as your duty and nothing else, as per your nature. Don't take up sannyas and think you will become a sage and all. That is not your nature. Your nature, and you're trained in that. So otherwise you will be caught with the sinful reactions. So by worship of the Lord, we can, by doing a duty only, we can attain perfection. We can go in the path of self-realization. So I think with this, I will stop. If you have any question, I will take up more in detail. It talks about bhakti when tomorrow. Okay. Vancha kalpatrabhyascha kripa sindhu ave evacha patitam nam pavnebho Vaishnavo namo namah. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare.